I said some time ago at a gathering similar to this that Camp Liberty wasn't a relocation camp, it was a concentration camp. It's an extermination camp. That's what it's become. It's not just a concentration camp. It's become an extermination camp under the auspices of the United Nations and the United States. How awful is that? How terrible is that? I say to the people that are living in the concentration camp, I say to the people that are living in what has become the extermination camp, I say to them, you're our Floristans. You're our people that we have the obligation to liberate if we want to assuage our consciences at all. This is a very, very critical time. It's a critical time for the people of Ashraf and Liberty and for their safety and survival. That's very concrete. That's very real. We can feel the danger to them, can't we? We can feel that their lives are at great risk. Who knows what Maliki will do? Who knows what the Ayatollahs and the mullahs will want him to do? So we're here at a time in which the survival of these people who are listening to us. I mean, we're here in Paris and we're safe. We weren't promised protection and we're safe. They were promised protection and they are in legitimate fear of imminent death. So their safety and survival is paramount. This whole thing that we're doing with Rouhani is deja vu all over again. They did this to us before. They fooled us like this before. They made jerks out of us like this before. And Rouhani has written it in his book, bragging about it. God, how naive can you be? How naive can you be? Gosh, maybe you can be as naive as Chamberlain was when he refused to read or take Hitler's Mein Kampf seriously. The first thing that shouldn't happen, we shouldn't link together, and I fear my government does this, negotiating with the Iranian regime and abandoning our promises to the people of Ashraf and Liberty. These two things are not connected. But I believe in the mind of my government, I believe in the mind of my State Department, these two things are connected. They believe that if they fight too hard to help the people of Liberty and Ashraf, it will undermine these negotiations. But I tell you what we're not going to do. We're not going to allow you to slaughter people that we promised to protect just to get some kind of possibly useless agreement. Maybe if we stood up to them, and maybe if we said, stop slaughtering innocent people in Iraq, stop slaughtering innocent people in Iran. And as you continue to do that, we will not speak to you. And if you continue to do that, you see those sanctions, we'll double them and we'll crush you. Maybe if we spoke to them like that, they would respect us. They would respect the United States of America. The people that we're speaking to at concentration camp, every single one of them has been given a promise by my country of protection in writing. This isn't a complicated question. These people have been promised protection. Over 100 of them have been killed. It is quite clear they're being killed by the Iraqis. You would have to be a fool to come to some other conclusion. And unfortunately, we seem to have some fools in our government. All of us are seriously concerned. All of us are there to help. But the people most affected are the people at Liberty. And I say to them directly, you're not alone. You're not forgotten. And your sacrifices will be the building blocks on which your great peoples and your once great nation will get reestablished. and you will be the heroes of the future.
There are 3,100 approximately Iranians in Iraq that the United States of America disarmed and gave each one a promise in writing that we would protect them. When the 52 people in Ashraf were murdered in cold blood in September, each one of them had one of those cards in their possession. So I seek to save 3,100 lives, or do the best we can to do that. And I also seek to redeem the honor of my own country, which has failed to stand up for its promises and has repeatedly lied to our Congress about what's happened, lied to the Iranian dissidents, and lied to the American public. Prime Minister Maliki murdered those 52 people, and he did it with our weapons. We have, in the United States, some complicity in the murders at Ashraf. Our State Department testified before the Congress of the United States that the people at Camp Ashraf had a significant number of T-walls and other defensive administration. That was a lie. They did not have that equipment. So the people that said that to the State Department, said that to the Congress, either didn't know, in which case they're incompetent, or they were not telling the truth, in which case they're now in contempt of Congress. There needs to be a change. The State Department needs to redeem itself, and it can only do that by telling the truth. What I don't like is the notion, in this quote-unquote realpolitik, the notion that we're really willing to sacrifice 3,000 people's lives so that we can get along with a group of people in Tehran that have repeatedly lied to us and boasted about fooling us. Part of the negotiation cannot be the entrapment of 3,100 people who we promised in writing that we would protect. And we should, in fact, be part of a war crimes tribunal to put before the International Criminal Court all those people, including Nouri al-Maliki, who have committed genocide in Liberty and Ashraf with our weapons.
We all know what fate the mullahs wish to impose on the MEK members remaining in Iraq. The only way that their situation can be improved is to make it clear to the State Department, to the P5+1, to the United States government as a whole, that whatever happens with respect to Iran's nuclear activities, we will not permit the residents of Camp Liberty to be forgotten or regarded as an insignificant detail. In particular, we will not allow the United States government to forget the solemn promise that was made in 2003 by a United States general in writing when the residents of Ashraf were disarmed, that they would have protected person status under the Fourth Geneva Convention and would be protected. So whatever grand strategy the delusional diplomats think they're carrying out, we are not going to permit the fate of the MEK residents to be treated as a secondary. Nouri al-Maliki has said in recent months that there are arrest warrants against several residents. The United States cannot stand by and permit him to act on that claim and still retain any moral standing in the world.
You know, I spent most of my years as a FBI agent, a police officer, and later as a prosecutor. I have never seen a crime scene, a massacre scene, as the ones that we saw today. I have never seen scenes like this, where innocent men and women were tied and tethered and shot and executed at point-blank range. This is outrageous murder and genocide of the highest degree. We have undermined substantially our credibility, and we undermine it every day that our promises fail to protect the 3,100 hostages who are at huge risk and daily risk. So what the United States has to do simply is keep its promise. We should have planes landing at Baghdad Airport. We should bring every one of those individuals back to the United States and protect them as we promised to protect them.
Depuis des années, car l'affaire est loin d'être nouvelle, Ashraf et bien sûr Liberty font l'objet d'attaques incessantes et meurtrières. Pourtant, tout de même, la communauté des Ashrafiens n'a cessé de donner des gages quant à sa volonté de coopération vis-à-vis de la communauté internationale. Mais rien n'y fait. Rien n'y fait et la vie des Ashrafiens, qu'ils soient dans le camp d'Ashraf ou de Liberty, leur vie, leur dignité continue d'être menacée, d'être détruite. La dernière attaque a relevé du massacre et 7 otages ont littéralement disparu sous les yeux de cette communauté internationale, abasourdie, paralysée et au final complice de l'exaction.
Situation in Camp Liberty is also horrible, and it's shameful, and it's a contradiction that it should be given the name liberty. And the civilized people of the world have to do something about this. Not soon, but immediately. And something also needs to be done very urgently with respect to the 7 hostages. The government of Iraq cannot be allowed to get away with the kind of behavior that is now going on, keeping these people concealed within their own prison somewhere, apparently in central Baghdad. It is not the kind of action and behavior that should be condoned. And therefore, the United Nations particularly, but also the United States government have a great responsibility in freeing those people.
The silence must end. The complicity must end. And we gathered here today have to be the voices to bring an end to that silence, to pressure those governments. And I, as a South African, know what a determined world community can do, because it was the people of the world who applied pressure on the apartheid government that forced that government into negotiations so that we could today be honoring the first president of a democratic South Africa. And as we say farewell to him, say that the words he spoke at his inauguration in South Africa about our country are the words that will be spoken in Iran not too long from now. Never, never, and never again will people be oppressed in this beautiful land. Thank you.